If you're spending hours in the gym doing random exercises but you're not seeing real results, it's probably time to rethink your approach. There are an endless amount of exercises out there, but not all of them are great for building muscle. Some are much more effective than others, and today I'm going to be telling you which ones you should actually focus on. Before we jump into what those exact exercises are, if you haven't already, I highly recommend that you go check out my last video, Muscle Growth 101, either before this video or after this video. That video breaks down the science of muscle growth, things like mechanical tension, metabolic stress, and progressive overload, which are definitely the foundation of what we're going to be talking about today. But now let's get into the specific exercises that you need to build muscle fast. First, let's talk about compound exercises. These are multi-joint exercises that work multiple muscle groups at once. For example, a barbell back squat doesn't just target your quads, even though that's predominantly what it's known for. There are also other muscles involved with that movement, like the glutes, a little bit of the hamstrings, the calves, some core muscles, and even some back muscles. First off, they allow you to lift heavier weights, which is a major driver of muscle growth. Plus, they're super time efficient, meaning that you can train more muscles in less time while also improving your coordination and overall strength. Okay, so now let's get into the compound exercises that you should be focusing on. When I design hypertrophy programs for my clients, I look at specific muscle groups first, then I look at the movement patterns that those exercises fit into. In my opinion, this approach ensures that you're training all major muscle groups and creates a really well-balanced physique. So there are 6 major movement patterns that I build my programs around. So there's horizontal push, horizontal pull, vertical pull, knee dominant movements, and hip dominant movements. First, let's talk about horizontal and vertical pushing movements. These are exercises where you're pushing weight away from your body, either horizontally or overhead, which would be vertical. These exercises will mainly work your chest, triceps, and shoulders, but there also is a little bit of help from the upper back, especially on those overhead movements. These are my go-to push exercises: flat bench pressing, push-ups, incline bench pressing, and overhead shoulder pressing. Remember that each of these exercises has variations, like using a dumbbell for your bench press instead of a barbell. The key is to pick the variation that fits what equipment you have available, your experience level, and any mobility limitations that you might have. That's going to be true with almost all of the exercises that I talk about today, so just keep that in mind. Next up, we have horizontal and vertical pulling movements. These exercises involve pulling the weight towards the body, predominantly working the back, biceps, and rear delt muscles. Here are the key pull exercises that you need in your routine. First, we have bent over rows, and there are so many different ways to do them. You have dumbbells, barbell, machine, Smith machine. Pick the one that you have available to you and that you enjoy. Then we also have single arm rows. Then we also have lat pull downs and chin ups, which have multiple different grip options to help you target different muscles in your back. We typically say that rows will build kind of the thickness of your back, so kind of going outward, while something like a lat pull down or a pull up is going to grow more of the width because it's targeting the lats a little bit better. So that's why adding horizontal and vertical pull movements into your program can be so beneficial, because you're going to make sure that you're targeting every muscle in the back. Now let's talk about knee dominant exercises, which are exercises that primarily use the knee joint to extend and flex the knee. These exercises primarily target the quads and the glutes, but other muscles in the lower body are involved as well. Here are some of the best knee dominant movements. First, we have back squats, but there are also front squats, which you may feel in your quads a little bit more. We also have Bulgarian split squats, which, if you've heard the rumors, yes, they are true. They are terrible, but they are amazing for building your lower body strength and building your glutes and your quads. There's other single leg variations like lunges, which there's a ton of different ways to do lunges as well. And then there's also step ups. There's also the leg press, which you can do single leg variations of, the hack squat, and then there's the belt squat, which I think are all great options, especially for beginners who are not ready to go to a barbell back squat yet. Growing muscle mass aside, I truly believe that being able to access all these different movement patterns as a human being can significantly improve your quality of life. Being able to perform a squat or even a lunge is essential to everyday life, whether it be picking up a box from the floor or just trying to stand back up afterwards. So yeah, just another reason why movement and muscle mass are so cool and so helpful to everyday life. Finally, we have hip dominant movements, which focus on the glutes, the hamstrings, and back musculature. These exercises primarily use the hip joint for flexion and extension and are key for building a really strong posterior chain, which not only looks really, really good, but also improves overall athleticism and can help prevent injuries. The best hip hinge exercises include deadlifts, all variations of that. So there's sumo, conventional, trap bar. There's also stiff leg deadlifts and Romanian deadlifts, which there's versions of that where you could do them single leg or add more depth by doing a deficit. Then we have one of my personal favorites, the hip thrust, which I love doing, both the machine version, the barbell version, and single leg versions of those. And then we also have good mornings, which are great for building up your hamstrings and your back. If your goal is to build stronger and bigger glutes and hamstrings, you need at least one of these movements in your program. Personally, I attribute a large chunk of my glute and hamstring growth to Romanian deadlifts and hip thrust. So hip hinge movements are definitely a favorite of mine. Isolation exercises also play a huge role in any hypertrophy focused program because they allow you to target specific muscles more directly. If you were to only have compound exercises in your program, it's really possible that you're leaving some muscle gains on the table. Here are some key isolation exercises that you can add into your routine. A lot of the variations of bicep curls are great if you want to grow bigger biceps, obviously. Then there are also different variations of tricep extensions, which are great for developing all the different heads of the tricep. If you're looking to target your shoulders a bit more, there's lateral raises, high pulls, and rear delt flies. One of my favorite exercises is hamstring curls, either lying or seated. They're great if you want to specifically target those hamstrings. And if you're looking to specifically target the quads, leg extensions are amazing. And then there's also calf raises, which I love both the standing and seated versions of those. When you're building your hypertrophy-focused program, there are also other factors to consider when selecting exercises. Number one, does the exercise effectively target the muscle that you're trying to grow? Everyone's anatomy is slightly different. For example, someone might feel a leg press predominantly in their quad muscles, while someone else could do the same exact exercise and feel it mostly in their glutes and their hamstrings. Choose exercises that place high tension on your target muscle through a full range of motion and allow you to establish a strong mind-muscle connection. If you can't feel the muscle working that you're trying to target, it may not be the best exercise for you. Number two, what's the exercise's stimulus to fatigue ratio? This relates to how much muscle-building stimulus an exercise provides in relation to how much fatigue it generates. For example, using conventional deadlifts to target your glutes can be highly fatiguing on your entire body, often requiring extra recovery time. On the other hand, a cable kickback isolates the glutes with minimal fatigue, providing a strong pump and stimulus without draining your central nervous system. Number four, do you have access to the necessary equipment? During COVID, all I had was a rusty old adjustable weight that I could make like either 60 pounds or 20 pounds, a box of kitty litter, and a resistance band. So I definitely had to adjust my exercise selection based on what I had available. If you don't have access to a specific machine or barbell, look for dumbbell, band, or bodyweight variations instead. Number five, can you progressively overload the exercise? An exercise is only useful long-term if you could progressively overload it. Some exercises like banded exercises are great for beginners, but they could quickly become too easy. On the other hand, compound movements like presses and squats allow you to gradually add weight, reps, or intensity over time, making them better choices for long-term muscle growth. Number six, do you actually enjoy the exercise? At the end of the day, consistency is key to making progress. If you hate an exercise and it's not essential, swap it out for an equivalent one that you actually enjoy. Sticking to a program that you actually enjoy will make it easier to be consistent and see results over time. Honestly, none of these exercises will even matter if you are not applying progressive overload, which we are going to go over in detail on the next video of this series, how to build your own hypertrophy program step by step. The purpose of that video is to help you create a plan that fits your goals and your schedule. So make sure that you are subscribed to my channel so that you don't miss out on that video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.